We are very happy that space is important to our politicians. So that's the first I want to say. I want to mention it's of course important that Germany has got a strategy. We had a strategy before, but now it was time to get a new one. So that's very good and we are very happy. But on the other hand, we are a little bit disappointed because we really hoped that the new strategy will be a little bit more ambitious.
Hey SpaceWatchers, this is Space Café Radio, your channel about trends, awesome events and interesting people in the space sector. End of September 2023, the German government presented a new space strategy, 13 years after the last release. Many things changed in the space sector, as we all know. The move from government and defense programs to a space economy with new space at the forefront. I had the chance to speak with the head of space at the BDLI, the German Aerospace Industries Association, Nicole Thalhofer, about her views on the strategy and about the upcoming German Space Congress. I'm Thorsten Kriening, publisher of SpaceWatch.Global. Enjoy listening. Hi Nicole, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Thorsten. Thanks.
Let's talk about your organization. The German Aerospace Industry Association represents over 100,000 jobs in Germany, about 40 billion euro in sales, 2.6 billion euro alone for the German space segment. And these are just the numbers from 2022. With other words, you are representing the German aerospace, but in our case, the German space industry. Is that correct?
Of course, we represent the whole aerospace and that means also the space sector. So, of course, the space sector is the smallest one with round about 10% of our whole aerospace sector. And now we've got a new look. The BDLI has now a new logo with a line connecting the dots. What means that we connect all areas of our members. We are the central go-to institution for our high-tech branch with companies of all size, from LSIs to startups. And we combine all these themes we have got to talk about, from sustainability to climate change to security and so on. So that means connecting the dots.
You just mentioned that the BDLI has a new look, but how much new space is in BDLI these days?
There's a lot of new space in. So as I said, so we combine all and we have got the big companies as well as the smaller ones. And we bring all these things together, all the questions we have for new space these days, what means not only startups, but the questions we have got to solve together with our industry for as well commercialization questions and things we have got to answer from the institutional side. So we combine everything.
On the 29th of September, the German government released the long overdue space strategy. That's a 62-page document in German language. One reason to give our international audience an insight on our platform. What is your first response to that strategy? Is it really a strategy or just a document?
We are very happy that space is important to our politicians. So that's the first I want to say. I want to mention it's of course important that Germany has got a strategy. We had a strategy before, but now it was time to get a new one. So that's very good and we are very happy. But on the other hand, we are a little bit disappointed because we really hoped that the new strategy will be a little bit more ambitious and talk about more goals we have for Germany, the German space flight sector, how we can go on in the exploration area, for example, and give us an idea what we can do within the next 10, 15 years, what are the steps. And we really miss all these things. So it's not very ambitious and it's quite general, the whole strategy.
I assume that as an industry representation, the BDLI was involved in this process of creating the strategy. Is that right?
Yes, we were involved as a lot of companies. And of course, we had our own position. We gave that to the politicians. And we talked about it a lot. We made proposals for different areas of space flight. And our main goal was to have a visionary approach for Germany that takes space into account for all sectors and departments. For example, we asked for industry-friendly regulations and standards and a very important role of the state as an anchor customer, for example. And there are good parts in this strategy, of course, but a lot of other parts are missing.
Let's start with the positive things. So what do you like about the strategy?
We really like that the strategy talks about new space. And new space now doesn't mean just talking about startup, but about the whole space sector and all the companies working there, what's very important for us. And the goal is an efficient competitiveness. And that's very important, of course, to stay competitive in Germany and in Europe as well. But that doesn't mean that everything can be solved just on the commercial way. So we also need the institutional part, because space lives from institutional things too. So that's very important as well.
Anything else that you like on the strategy?
On the other side, the international cooperation is mentioned quite often in the strategy, and this is very good too, we think. There are a lot of programs we can't solve just on a national level. We need cooperation, of course, and that's very good. We also, as I said before, on the other hand, we need national programs as well. Both sides are very important for Germany and for the German companies.
Let's talk about the dislikes. Or what are you missing?
As I said before, so we think the strategy should have been more ambitious. So, for example, it talks about the access to space with launchers, but it's not really concrete. What does this mean exactly? On the other hand, the exploration question is not solved, so we don't get a real impression that Germany wants to focus on exploration within the next decade, for example. And that makes us a little bit nervous, let me say so, because you know that the ESA summit will take place in November. And of course, all these questions are discussed there. And if Germany hasn't got a clear position there and a real ambition, then it could become quite hard to participate in the next ESA programs. And as we, in the development of this IRIS² connectivity program, for example, when you are not in from the beginning on, then probably you're out or you've got a problem. And that's a big problem for us too.
What about the space law, the German space law?
We will see what will happen. So for sure, we will get a space law. And our request is really to have a law that doesn't bring our industry into a bad situation. So compared to other countries in Europe, that we've got a good starting position for our industry. And that's the most important thing for us.
Okay. Why do you think that we are missing these ambitions, these Kennedy go to the moon? So not ich bin ein Berliner, but this go to the moon moment. Why don't we have these ambitions?
Good question. So I'm not the right person to ask this because we always tried to convince everybody. So all these things we have got to solve, all these questions, all these political questions, they show the real importance of space and space flight. So we don't know what we can really do next to convince the people who have to be convinced that they have got to invest in space, because probably then if it's not done now, it's too late. We just can hope that within the next years and also decades, the strategy is just something like a framework which has got to be worked out, of course. So space programs are developed within or over many years. Of course, there is hopefully enough time to develop the right programs and to go the right direction in the different parts of space and spaceflight, as access to space, exploration, applications. We hope that this gets into the right direction then.
On the last page of the space strategy, it says Space Explained, or Raumfahrt erklärt in German. And it talks that media entities, universities will be supported via the space agency. And as a specialized media That is not very convincing for me, but it's just a side note. As we are recording this episode on Monday, the 9th of October, in 2 days we will see a debate in the German Bundestag about the new space strategy. What do you expect from that debate?
So the strategy is out and I don't expect changes. So it's too late for changes, but hopefully a lot of members of parliament become aware of space and the importance of space. So probably more than they were before. And this is very important, of course, to discuss this topic right now, as we have got different crises in Europe or on our world at the moment. And that hopefully brings space in the right direction then.
So it's more an awareness building for the parliamentarians, because if it's an unambitious document, as we discussed right now, then what can it spear with the parliamentarians? But let's do a bold move. In a week, on the 18th of October, we will see, after the pandemic pause, the second German Space Congress, with many of the politicians, top-level politicians will be there. What's your take on that? What do you expect from that event?
First of all, we are a cooperation partner there, and we organize a panel on IRIS², the connectivity program of the EU, European Union. And of course, we hope that we will meet there a lot of participants from other industries. For example, the main goal is to get all these industries connected and to convince them or to show them that space is very important for all branches. And it's important to get in touch and to connect and to discuss how space can solve the problems of different branches, for example. So this is a very important goal. And on the other side, it's quite important, of course, to have different politicians there from different ministries. And as I started the German Aerospace Industries Association, so we are there to help connecting the dots, so to bring all things together.
But do you expect many people from outside the space industry coming to this Congress?
I don't know the numbers right now, but the BDI is the association for all the industries coming together. And so hopefully that should be the goal, to bring these industries in then. So I hope we will see a lot of other industries and branches too.
Thank you very much for your time, Nicole, and please keep on doing this very good work that the association is doing for Germany and for the space sector here in Germany and in Europe and the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thorsten.
If you have further questions, reach out to us at radio@SpaceWatch.Global. If you like these or other episodes of Space Café Radio, leave us a rating on your preferred podcast platform. It is the currency of today. And if you want to stay on the pulse of the space industry, please visit our website at www.SpaceWatch.Global and subscribe to our newsletters. And of course, don't forget to become a Space Watcher. I'm Thorsten Kriening, publisher at SpaceWatch.Global, your independent perspective on space.